from the government, and I'm here to help.
Take a look, it's in a book.
Some members of the community use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda.
Let's watch Figure It Out.
Welcome again, everybody, to another amazing episode of We Figured It Out. I'm your boy Matt and my boy Michael.
What up? Nice, dude. Fucking, I
See,
like
it
this
threw it off.
alternate. Yeah, that's tight. Dude, it sounds crazy. Is that how I sound? Just coming out of the woodwork like that?
Yeah, kind of like just hit. You're like, what do I say?
Dude, that's fire. No, it sounded good. We're in a bizarro land. Not even. It's fucking both are showing. And people out there, you know what? Matt can attest this. I'm always telling him, bro, you fucking take over the show. It's his damn turn.
So. Like I don't know. I like our collab and topics kind of on
Me
this.
too.
Like, yeah,
Me too.
that was a good one.
It's a smooth thing going.
I feel like
Even-
we just agree on all the topics anyways. Like, yeah, we need to probably get into that. We still need to do the Trump and Kamala thing. I'm building. As you see, I'm building up to
yes. We got to bring in every side of that. Trump, what is it? Kamala.
Yeah.
People say Kamala all the time, but it's Kamala.
Oh.
And now she's out on her fucking TV commercials and shit. So people probably know, but they won't care. They'll be like, it's still Kamala.
Yeah.
I don't. And just for the record out here, I don't like that bitch neither.
No, I don't like either.
Okay.
I'm the same. Same.
I mean,
birth.
if you held a gun to my head right now, let's just answer this question. If you held a gun to my head right now and you were like, vote for somebody, I would vote for Trump still in the very end. Because even the Libertarian Party, bro, they nominated like, oh, go ahead and roast me for this. They nominated like a de facto fucking gay dude that wants to hype up taxes and vote
How is
like
that
extremists. Yeah, dude.
Dude, libertarian is anarchy with a bow tie.
Mm-hmm. It should be.
That's
should
what it needs to be, right? Like, I mean, just less government, no government, basically. Like,
I got 5 fucking rules and don't break them. Then we can do whatever, you know?
right.
Should be some shit like that. But anyways, that's where that stupid ass party's at. So I get it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not voting for that. Anyway,
That's in future episodes.
yes, that is future. It'll be before the election, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It has to be before the election. And folks, we're trying to keep up with shit, but it's just fucking wild.
Yeah. Like, I mean, dude, if we were to talk about every subject every day, man, dang, what would we, I mean, we couldn't go to work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, first of all, we have full-time
We need
jobs.
money.
Yeah.
Like, this pays great and all, but
yeah. Those double cheeseburgers it's providing.
we don't live in places like Uganda, right?
Yeah. We're not gonna make it. Have you seen the prices of things in Colorado, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen? Anyway, dude, I got one today that's a little weird. You know, I just wanted to get fucking weirdo on it. And so I found the phantom time hypothesis, okay? Or people call it like theory, phantom time theory, all these things. And it's this notion that we're still in like the 1700s, 1725, and that 300 years really didn't exist and it's not technically accounted for. And it was more of like we wrote it down. And I was like, man, whatever. Hold on a second. But then you start looking at things and it's like, okay, well, it was pretty old back then. You can kind of forge whatever you fucking want. And
Right.
even if it was like 300 or so years that were missing, who's to say that the earth just isn't 300 years earlier? So then I got intrigued, you know? I was like, well,
Right.
fuck me. Maybe it's not that years were just lied about. Maybe we're just wrong on math or something. So I was like, let's see what the fuck's up. And so in 1991, dude, which not long ago, we were alive. Okay.
Right. Like, we didn't change time in 1991, did we? Like,
Not yet.
okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
And just for the listeners out there, Matt was older than me in 1991.
I was back then, though.
Yeah, back then, not anymore. Almost 300 years, dude. German historian, Heriber, right? I think, or Heibert. It's probably Heibert, right? If it's German,
Yeah,
it's like Herbert with an I.
Heibert.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
feel like
Heibert,
it almost needs an N in there too.
right? So we'll just say German Herbert. All right, Illig. I like to call him just Illig because it's easier to pronounce.
There you go.
He started coming out with this claim right when he was a little older. He was born in the 40s, but that roughly around 297 years of history was fabricated, and he thinks like from 614 to 911 AD is the specific time period, and that would be what we refer to as the middle or the dark ages. And I feel like I remember, dude, when people told us about the dark ages, it was like a time of forgery and bullshit. Was it not when we were kids?
Dude, it was. Why was it like? Why was it the Dark Ages?
Because they weren't it wasn't like documented well, I think.
Right. So yeah, like you can't see it, right? So it's dark.
Yeah.
But like, I just always feel like it's a dark time in our history too. Like I mean, not a lot was going on.
Yeah,
That we know of.
it was like the time of
Because
kings, and we were barely out of the Roman, rule. So yeah, there's not technology, there's not past stones and fucking bricks and all that. So he says we're basically still living in the 18th century. And I said, all right, man, well, who the fuck is this Herbert Illig or Herbert? But he's a German historian. And right off the bat, right, he's born in 1947, Bavaria. And if you know anything about the end of 1947, it's not a nice place. And Bavaria was technically Munich, right?
okay.
Very, very strong, heightened part of Nazi Germany. But since they had lost in 1947, it was specifically that area was very Americanized. He lived in like what we were rebuilding. So I guess if like you've been in countries where their war has happened and America's rebuilding, right? It's not technically that country anymore. There's Western, like you had said in an
That's a lot of
episode,
Western and
right? Prior back, there
influence.
were fucking road signs where you were at, even, telling you where to go. It looked like
Yeah.
a highway, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even
So,
like in English, it's weird.
mm-hmm.
At
So
least English enough you can read.
he he had that influence, right? Even
Well,
though it was
and like they
still,
did war different though. Like
oh yeah,
if like you were in like say Fallujah, we would just like Fallujah wasn't Fallujah anymore, right? Like I mean, civilians didn't matter. Like we will destroy it with artillery and then we'll walk in.
mm-hmm. Dude, I remember Fallujah too. That was like there because there were a couple like certain key points in the Iraqi war, right? There
Oh yeah,
was, the Baghdad, and then there was Fallujah where we kept getting ambushed like on the bridges,
yeah. Well,
and
like
then we
that
just
was
decided fuck it, blow it up.
there's like initial push, and then Fallujah was like a big uprising. I want to say that was in 2006, 2005, something like that. It was later on. And then Ramadi later on too.
Yeah, there was like three phases to that war, and it was like, they gave up. But he in 1947, so he was like in one of those areas, it didn't matter. It was going to be Western. Everything, the influence there was Western. So, and I'm pointing that out because it was Christian, you know, that was the religion of choice. And then so he had a Christian influence on it. And he believed in catastrophism. It's hard to say, right? But he believed that Earth and everything on it was shaped through like a small series of events that were violent but sudden. not like this not like what science actually says it is, and it was formed after plate tectonics and the winds and the fucking sands and erosion and things like that,
It wasn't over time. It was just.
Yeah. He says, and I mean, there's a lot of people that argue that.
It was quick and violent.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Earth was created supposedly in a fucking explosion. So
I mean, if I don't know what a day is in God's eyes, but I mean,
exactly. People don't like the catastrophism, right? Because science, thinks, like I had said, it takes many fucking years for something to happen. And I feel like also, dude, that's a contradiction though, because you go to school, dude, and they're like, this fucking meteor hit and sent the world into an ice age.
it's almost like the immediate, like that's what killed
Right? Yeah,
the
killed
dinosaurs, right?
killed it all the
Like-
fuck off, and now it's an ice age.
Like,
But it's like, wait,
there was no like possible volcano.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I remember that being at one point, and then they're like, no, meteor.
I do remember that too. I do. It's weird.
There was like, it could have been all these things that
Mm-hmm.
happened before the ice age, and then it's like, nope, it was definitely a meteor.
What happened? You think, dude? Do you think?
Dude, don't you think if the world split apart like quickly, that like that's why, like, okay, you would find the fossils on different sides, right? Bam, like you now aren't a family anymore, right?
Absolutely.
And then also like you get volcanoes and everything else. If the plates move that quick, I mean, dude, something's got to give,
Something's moving.
right?
Like
A
something,
lot. Like, dude, the world's got to shake at that point,
bro. Exactly, and
Like,
that's
you
got
think an
to
earthquake's
shift.
bad,
Tilt.
like this would like rattle your brain, right?
They tell us even like 2 degrees warmer would completely decimate our fucking planet's ecosystem on average, and it's like, but you're also saying we're getting hotter every fucking year. So when are
But
we
we
gonna
were
hit
gonna
the
get colder.
Yeah, dude? It's crazy. We've been hotter every year, but then you look at our summer and it's been one of the coldest summers we fucking had.
Yeah, that's been decent. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, dude. I don't remember getting
And dude,
cooked.
we're already back to September.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
already
man,
almost
I'm
hitting
already
80s.
loving it. I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah. We were outside and I was like, dude, it only hit at Morris's soccer game. I was like, it's only like 80 right now. It's not bad.
Dude, yeah, it's like, I mean, it's hot, but it's not like sweltering. Right?
Listen to us. We're sorry if we have anybody listening in Arizona or something like that.
Right, right. Any of my Iraqi friends that are
Yeah,
still
that's
looking for me.
yeah, right. Or like you've said, they found a piece of your identification. They are now you.
Right. I mean,
There's an Iraqi Matthew out there.
right? It's just me.
All I know is if that's true, you better get the benefits.
I hope so, dude. I just hope he's working towards my retirement, man.
Dude, there's still American money funneling into those motherfuckers.
Oh, dude, you can't just up and leave like that, man. They just give you money.
You're never done. Right?
And dude, there's countries out there that are like, stop giving us money. And we're like, we can't.
No, we can't. We don't even know where our money's at in your country. We're sorry. It's so true, dude. Okay, so he followed this guy. I wrote this quick note in here, Emmanuel Velikovsky. You like how I said that? That's pretty good, huh?
Dang, that was
Yeah.
a good one.
He's Russian American,
Of
so
course.
yeah, in the German era, right? But he's following a Russian American. I just thought it's more pinpoint, dude, lays credence. You wouldn't be in Nazi Germany following a Russian American, because Russians and Americans fought Nazis.
Yeah,
So
communists and democracy were on the same side at one point.
So 1947 Bavaria, even though he was in a western part of it, so and I want it to lay that credence that it's the Christianity, I think, that influenced this guy to lead to this whole fucking phantom time hypothesis, and I think it started even from this very moment, back in post World War II era with the Russians and the Americans, and he's living here and he's been following this other dude who was a teacher of catastrophism too, and he found it. But this guy also was like into therapeutic techniques of the unconscious mind. So he knew like, you know, how to like hypnosis regression
It's
type
a
shit.
little bit of Edgar Casey, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
He
Gotcha.
had some shit. And so at that time, dude, the church was led by Pope Sylvester the third. No, the second, sorry. And he was the Pope from 946 to 1003, and that's what he died in 1003, obviously, because you're the Pope till you die.
Right.
But
That's a good
he
reign.
yeah, right. And if you right, I was saying 911, right? Weird. 614 to 911. Weird 1111, right? Or 11 and then 911. It's always that
Right.
fucking shit, dude. It always brings me back to thinking about Brandon Kroll telling us all that shit. And I'm like, how are all these significant events really on that goddamn date?
Right. Right.
Always. Anyway,
Dude, I don't
yeah. It's weird. It's so fucking weird. So he was the Pope in 946. So this is 30 years after the time period in question that's lied about, okay? But if you think about it, you would have to be after knowing what happened in these time periods if you were going to fucking forge anything. And you'd want to be, say, the Pope, somebody who mattered. He was a French scholar from, and oh my bad, he was alive from 946 to 1003. He was only the Pope in 999 to 1003. So 4 years. And he was well liked. But the weird thing was he grew up in Spain and there was like Islamic influence then. So he knew Arabic.
in
And if
Spain, huh?
mhm. And if you go to back to Western Europe in those times, people who know Arabic and Islamic shit, that's pretty fucking weird over there, right? They looked at
Right.
him knowing astrology and advanced mathematics and different languages. It led to him becoming like this dude, this weird fucking myth that people were like, you're out here practicing witchcraft or
Mm,
astronomy because you've sold your soul to the devil. And
like not understanding that there's difference in culture. Like,
mhm, right,
yeah.
which is weird because like you can go anywhere in the world and it's like, what number system do you use? Arabic.
Arabic, yeah.
It's the only one that exists. And then you got Roman numerals, so they're letters. Right, it's like in my definition, not even a Roman numeral is a number. It's, you can put
And
them
those
together,
are
but they're
very
V's, I's, and X's.
yeah. Can you imagine like trying to write some stuff out with that?
Dude,
Yeah.
the MCMXCVII, you see all that shit, you're like, oh, that means 2025 or whatever. I'm probably so fucking wrong there, but whatever. You read it and it's like, oh, it's 1 year.
And essentially, like, isn't it all 10 base though still?
I think
It's crazy because like
it
everything is
has to
10
be.
base.
Has to
Everything
be.
is 10 base.
Everything's 10 base, but also to the root of pi, correct?
I got to thinking about something the other day. Is pi truly infinite, or can we just truly never ever go far enough to understand it or
Dude, that's
get it?
crazy.
Like see the pattern. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I
I
mean,
think
essentially, in a world where there's infinite possibilities, yeah. I mean, it's got to happen eventually because I mean, statistically, it can't not.
I
You
think
know what I'm
I
saying?
think you're right. I think it has a statistical like end or point to itself that we
It
just
has to.
are doing wrong.
Yeah.
And I know, see, I can't remember. Okay, so the tech CEO that died on that super yacht that we were talking about,
Mm.
Mike Lynch. I can't remember if it was Mike Lynch or Mike. It might be Lear. It can't be Lear because that's just too coincidental, right? Um, one of those guys though, dude, they were super like they were saying we were using pi wrong, and a lot of like this mathematics and astronomy shit was we were off a little bit, because we didn't understand there were a couple more numbers, like you're saying. We didn't understood it go far enough, dude. And not to be all doomy and gloomy, but science this week just said, once again, oh, I think we're a little off on the Apophis asteroid, and it might be a little closer than we thought. But the mathematicians I was
Is it
talking about,
Apophis or Apophis? Apophis?
it's the same thing, I think. Tomato,
Ooh,
tomato. It's probably
Hmm.
Apophis because we're American.
Yeah,
American.
I feel like
Apophis.
we gotta we're from Colorado,
I'm
not
trying to be.
Colorado. Have
I'm
you
trying to
like
be.
people who say Colorado, like where do
Mhm.
you find the other O in that? Just show me
Dude,
the other O.
my son said it earlier, and I was like, "You're
Ah.
from here. You're from Colorado."
There's a
It's like,
fucking A in it.
yeah, it's
Pronounce
Colorado.
it.
It's rad, bro. We're
And
rad, rad.
mountains don't have T's, okay?
Yes, they're mountains.
Mountains.
Mounds.
Squeeze
We'll say it slow. Mounds.
it.
Dude.
Then have you
Oh,
heard like people who enunciate the T though? That mountains.
yeah.
That sounds weird.
It's not tin. It's mountains if you're gonna say it anyway,
Mountains.
right? Yeah.
Like,
I know people that say shit weird sometimes, and I'm like, I I don't think that's what you meant. Or if you've been hearing that and you're all the way in your 30s, that's weird in Colorado, right?
yeah, yeah.
And people do tell me, I go to other places, for work and shit, and they're like, "Where are you from, man? You got an accent." And I'm like, "I'm from
Dude,
fucking
I have
Colorado,
the
dude. There's no
most
accent."
basic accent that
Yeah,
there can be. Like
yeah.
it is
I'm from
nuts.
nowhere. I'm just poor white trash.
Yeah, yeah, dude. People in our school developed a dialect. Like there is straight up hick.
It's true. It's true. You got like your own country ebonics. And we
Yeah,
mean this wholeheartedly, folks, but we did grow up in the middle of nowhere with Hickville. That's a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And they speak like I don't know, just hick like Larry the Cable Guy.
Don't say that. He didn't mean it that
They
way.
still say that. They still
No,
say those fucking lines. If you're still saying those lines, you're that person. I
yeah,
said
stop
it.
saying those lines. If we go back, anyway, not to be, it's a
Go ahead,
super
Fago.
side. That was a side tangent on a side tangent. We're going to go back to the first side tangent. They
Right.
were
Where were we
saying,
at?
so as the Apophis, asteroid is back in the limelight, and they're saying, well, we did a little math. It'll be closer to Earth than we thought. And I don't think we've ever talked about it, but it's an asteroid that makes a pass every now and then. And we think in 2029 or 2036 it's going to come closer than our low or our closest communication satellites.
How do we have okay? We're really close on the math and we're within 6 years.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, yes, that's scary, right?
We're close on the math though, boys.
So, well, this is the
That's
even
some of
better.
that college level math there, man.
This is the even better part, dude. They thought they had it figured out, and they're like, no, we won't see it for probably another 100 years. We were wrong. Well, now this week they're backtracking and they're going, we'll probably see it in 2029 or 2036. And it's supposed to be the closest non-man made object to pass through. It'll be closer than our satellites. But a lot of these mathematicians are saying,
Closer than
even
our satellites,
bro, Neil deGrasse Tyson said
it would destroy
it's
us.
a 7-year window to hit the keyhole. And if it hits the keyhole on 2029, we can try to figure out 2036. If it doesn't hit the keyhole in 2029, we don't need to worry about 2036. Right? And it's supposed to be like, if it does hit, they think like the Baja area, like the Mexico, California, and the ocean. This is all just stuff I read though. So I mean,
Right,
but
they're years off, and they're gonna
mhm.
say like where it hits.
So I brought up the Lear Lyncher. I wish I had it pulled up again. I'll have to look. And I wish I
Pull
could
it up.
fucking remember because I don't want to sound like a retard. But this guy was saying that like they were wrong in their mathematical equation of pi. and they weren't using the last couple digits, and that the Apophis, whichever you want to call it, asteroid trajectory was going to hit us. And they're just not telling anybody. So there's that. Not part of the episode, but
Michael Lynch, right?
Lynch. That is it. Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's the tech CEO. Okay. They killed him, right? They killed him on the super yacht.
sank off Sicily. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
they
one where
killed
his
him.
buddy killed him, right?
Oh shit. And the car hit the other guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was saying that's odd to kill him too. And then to bring up a couple weeks later that maybe they were wrong on the asteroid math. Dude, yeah, he was saying they were incorrect. So anyway, that's nor here nowhere. Let's not talk about doom and gloom. I'm looking at Matt across the camera, and he's got this look in his face like, wait, I got 10 years left to live. Like,
Yeah. It's been good. I just wish I would have committed way more felonies.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, shit. I wish I would have committed 38 more and tried to run for president.
Right.
If I'd have known that was the bar, I would have
I
done
know,
more
dude.
with my life.
I just didn't know where the bar was,
Yeah.
man.
I thought I was nowhere near qualified.
Here I am just going the wrong way.
Here I am, actually one of the most qualified people. Anyway, so I bring up this idea was brought to in the 90s by Illig, right? But he points to this Pope Sylvester II in the end of the 900s, okay? And he was really well liked, and we talked about like the mathematics and all this weird shit that also made him questioned a lot. And like bro brought back an abacus and shit, he's like, hey, I know this weird math shit with these balls, people were like, who the fuck is this fucking guy? You're supposed to be the papal. So there were these rumors, man, deals with the devils, this motherfucker's a sorcerer, all these things. And I was like, well, let's look into that shit. Let's really see if you had a deal with the devil, Pope Sylvester. Okay. We know about the Romans. We know about the Vaticans. Possibly might. Who do they know? Who am I to say they don't know? So I looked it up, and it was weird for these people like freaking out about, dude, the science and the math and the astronomy and all that shit. He was just a clergyman at the time. He wasn't even a pope. But it pointed back to still, like I'd said, he grew up in Spain, and there was the Islamic stuff. So I was like you said, they didn't understand the culture, so I couldn't throw that in devil worship right off the bat. And they said he was too smart. He had to have sold his soul for that. It's like, dude, you can't hate the smart man. But he had a talking brass bullhead. And it was autonomous. Yeah, dude, this is weird. Okay, so we did it like our AI, right? And all this weird robotic shit. This motherfucker had a talking brass robotic bullhead that you could ask questions and it would give you answers predicted of the future. What the fuck?
This?
$9.99. Not even the year 1000. This month, right? So then I went, okay, hold on. Did you make a deal with the devil? A bullhead, first of all, brass, second of all, and third, it's telling you secrets of the fucking future.
Man, I think we just solved the pyramids.
Dude,
Like,
that's
gosh,
fucking
you
weird.
have an autonomous thing that can just tell you how to do stuff?
He apparently he knew necromancy, bro, and that's what was powering these things. They say. Everybody
What's
else
that?
claimed raising the dead.
Okay.
Right? Or right for so like
I knew
you're
it was
not
dead something. I was like,
yes.
what?
Not a zombie. You're not bringing them back to life. You're not doing anything of that. You're just creating like a dead army, Bleh. So maybe a zombie, technically. Nobody thinking no resurrection, okay? That's weird. So he had a talking head created through necromancy, and he was noted to be seen with objects where he could fly. Yep. Okay. So still, hey, I'm not gonna
At
chalk it up
least the
to the
Wright
devil yet.
brothers got that figured out.
Dude,
This guy was in 999, huh?
a lot of people chalk it up to they misunderstood his Islamic knowledge in the Western world.
I don't understand how he had it in 999.
Yeah, throw Islamic and Western world out. How the fuck did this fool have a talking head and knew
Yeah,
how to fly?
yeah. I have a lot more questions than where he came from.
That's why people thought he was with, even if he wasn't doing anything demonic. How the fuck did Homeboy fly?
Yeah. I mean,
Impressive
I
nonetheless.
would probably be like, that might be the devil.
So this is the part though, right? If you were forging documents, you might have a couple stories about yourself like that. Or say if you were trying
If
to
I'm the
place,
only one making documents.
if you were, well, you're a pope. How much power do you have?
Oh, dude, infinite, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
And this time,
control
oh
an
yeah.
entire religion.
So there's a lot of speculation out there that he was able also to rewrite the calendar. And they put it at 1000 AD instead of 700. Okay. Even though they were alive in the 990s, they knew the year 1000 was coming up because, well, I mean, they did math. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. Obviously, it comes after 999, right?
Right.
But they were intrigued. They wanted the year 1000 because it was mentioned in the book of Revelations, right? A millennia, so they assumed 1000. Oh, we're in the first millennia. Okay, this might be something that matters. But he conspired with the Roman Emperor Otto the Third and Constantine the Fifth or Seventh of the Byzantine Empire, and they both were like heavy in Christianity. And if you look back, Pope Sylvester was heavy into Christianity, and they wanted to unify. It was kind of like the goal of Pope Sylvester. He wanted his papacy to be the unification of Christianity across the Western known nations. And he apparently conspired with Otto and Constantine to fucking rewrite these forgeries. And the year 1000 was symbolically important to Christian eschatology, as for one I already said, being mentioned in the book of Revelations, and maybe pointing to the return of Christ, the millennia, the fall feasts, times that had happened. So they fabricated like the events during the reigns of kings and popes between the 7th and 10th centuries. And there's like the events of the annals of Fulda and Xanten during the 9th century that people don't even know what the fuck that is. Right? Historians are like, we're questioning that. And then you have this Pope Sylvester wrote this shit where, right, in 1991, Hybert, or Herbert, however it's pronounced, Illig, I just like to call him, he points back to Charlemagne the Great. Okay, Charles the Great, his reign that was from 768 to 814, and he didn't either like exist, bro, or they greatly made up things about Charlemagne the Great, and pointing to documents such as the Royal Frankish Annals and the Vita Caroli Magni, which were documents that on Charlemagne that were made like later than him. Right, the only factual evidence that this guy's claiming that was for Charlemagne was written later, nothing during his time. So it's like, how far out were these manipulated?
Right, right.
Are you who
Because
knows?
because history, like actually I took a history class.
Nice.
History is actually like it's all perspective, man. Like
Exactly.
it's 100% perspective of the person looking at it.
It's written by
Yeah,
the victor.
yeah, yeah. And but like I mean, even but if I have like even say like a communist mindset looking at World War II. Like I can make that work into World War II. You know what I'm saying? You can make it whichever
Absolutely.
way you want it
Absolutely,
to
because
go.
you know what time's being asked or like looked of right now. That's a super good point.
Yeah, like if I wrote a history piece on Trump right now, how would that look? Right.
Hmm. Especially if
So
you were, one of these people out here,
versus like while he
Fox
was in
News.
office, like I have different feelings,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
let alone like
It's not going to
yeah.
be the same as yesterday.
No, no, it
Right?
changes daily anymore, man. Like
Remember when that motherfucker had a Twitter?
I kind of miss it.
I do too. I do too. I'm gonna be honest. I always said,
Some mean
don't let
tweets
him
are
talk.
always.
But now I miss it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, dude, this guy, I really only listen to his interviews now for the fucking heaters that he's dropping on people. I just
Dude,
want to hear him say some funny or stupid shit about an insult. That's what I'm
and
here for.
yeah, yeah. That's his speech tactic, I realize too.
I love it.
You
I
know?
love it.
It's truly that. Like it's not answering so much of a question, but insulting other people
Hmm.
tactfully. And so you laugh, but you forget about the original fucking question entirely.
Hmm. It's it also makes sense though, right? Too, because he lets his actions speak for himself. Like he was saying when he got shot, he was at the lowest immigration, he was at the highest employment rate, he was at all kinds of things.
Mhm.
He don't need to talk about it. He'll let his actions speak for himself, and then he'll come out here and use his time to talk shit.
Right.
It's like, bro, if you unified your words for good and you were doing good, imagine how many people would like you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I
It's
just
okay.
don't think, yeah.
I don't think any of that matters. They're gonna do what the fuck they want. The
Yeah.
corporations in charge that huck the money out are gonna pay whoever they gotta pay to get their shit done. It's just how it happens.
Do you think your vote actually counts
Fuck no.
anymore?
Fuck no. All right, so um they think like they wrote Charlemagne's accomplishments in to fill like these gaps in time. And Illig also points to certain Pope documents, papal documents being forged and fabricated, specifically once again between the 7th and 10th century, because that's the fucking time period we're talking about, right? These are when he thinks was fabricated. And he claims Pope Gregory the First and Leo the Third have a lack of consistent documentation in this time, suggesting when you read this and you get that, and then you look at like what happened later in history, what Pope Gregory or Leo was doing first couldn't have happened. So he believes those timelines were also manipulated. And then, bro, they, the theorists of this whole, there's a whole bunch of like people out there that believe this, and they question the legal documents of this time as well. Like, there should have been documents confirming people's rights, people's land ownership, or documentation of like people's privileges, basically laws. I want to say we have laws that say our privileges, but that's not true. It's more like the Constitution, that says our privileges.
Right. And see, I got to just thinking about that too, like part of the Dark Ages, because like that it's the time after Rome, right? Like because
Right
Rome
after
was
Rome.
it's like kind of established, like we're the new Rome, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're the ones that are like kind of like the center of trade, right? Like, hey,
Yeah, their
everybody
money
has to
did
come
their
through
money
us
went
to do some
somewhere.
trade, right? So it's after that, and you're talking like this is almost peak in like intellectual thought, like I mean you have guys just sitting around just thinking all day, that's their job, think, then you have guys out like you know doing stuff to each other and fighting all the time, and like but
None of that's
dude,
written
their
down though.
education after that was like nil, dude, like I mean
Yeah, where did it go? And you're right. We're talking about a time right
so
after Rome. Like these people were
these
literally
people weren't even educated enough to like understand shit, let alone like
architecture, bro. They were literally just recovering buildings with their concrete or whatever they were making. They didn't build a framework. They didn't know that. And
no,
that's like How?
Just copied what was there. Basically, there was no new thought, right?
Yeah, there's no like transition of education, like you said. There's no transition of learning, or progression on anything here in this time period. And it's like, how the fuck did that happen? How do you advance this far and then you just stop? And then all of a sudden, hey, our shit's fucking nice.
Yeah, dude. I don't.
Dude, it's weird. The more I was
You
reading,
come
I
out
was
of
like,
like the dark ages. Like, I mean, dude, Vikings were kind of like whooping everybody's ass. How, like, what happened to those guys?
they
They're just
left.
like, they're just,
Supposedly, they
they're just
just
like,
up and left.
we like our land better.
Yeah.
See ya.
How is
Like,
a
we could
conquering?
take all of this, and then we're like, nah.
Yeah. They're literally conquering everything they're seeing, and then they conquer a little bit of shit and go, "Yeah, we're out of here. We're going back to our land."
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it, dude.
It's all on the timeline, bro. So, like, right, there were no lands, rights, ownership, or like documentation of privileges written by kings or leaders, but they believe like the documents from Otto's period, Otto the Third, were forged. There's a lot of his documents trying to be in these time periods, which he was one of the people with the Pope and Constantine. And it seems they were trying to place people in certain times, whether they were there or not. You're almost in year 1000 and you're forging documents in 700 to put yourself there. You're forging documents,
What do you know?
you're making sure you're there in the year 1000 and building that, and there were like charters issued by Otto the Third with donations to churches that didn't exist. The church wasn't there, and the dates were like forged outside of the times where these like boats would have chartered out and brought the donations. So it's like, well, here's another part.
It sounds like
And
some tax evasion. I donated all that.
yeah, it's the church, bro. There ain't no taxes. Herbert also points to the lack of architecture, just what we were talking, right? And from the missing time, because it was like the reuse of Roman constructs, right? And they call it the swap from classical Roman to Romanesque was abrupt and just skipped developmental years, quote unquote. And they say like the scarcity of monuments, specifically in Charlemagne's reign, is also like a key factor. If you had these people who were, Charles the Great, right? He was a fucking king, dude. Charlemagne was taking over everything, but you don't have statues, you don't have monuments, you don't have all these things of him, and that's what he was pointing out. And then a lot of this Romanesque was really medieval architecture. If you looked at later medieval, that's what it was. It was Romanesque. You put both of those next to each other, and he's like, dude, where's the fucking transition? It's literally you guys taking the Roman building, putting a triangle top over it, and going, hey, new building, new time period. You didn't build nothing. So that's called the Carolinian architecture. And I wrote, there's the Palatine Chapel in Acon. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fucking pronounce that right. It's old, it's Roman, doesn't exist anymore. But there's like where these old Palestine monuments are, but if you look at them, dude, they're medieval. They're medieval fucking structures that are supposed to be like these past next featured, and it's not. So he claims to that too. And it's crazy that this guy found all this in 1991, but he was a big, like, I guess if you dive your nose deep in enough and all this shit long enough, eventually you're going to come across it.
Right. Because, like, I mean, I haven't even started dabbling into it now, but now I'm like, dang, dude, sounds like quite the rabbit hole you could get down. And
Dude, this shit, there should have, okay, there's a lot, man, that this guy found. So when they went from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar, okay, there should have been an adjustment for 13 days of time of the drift in the calendar. They only accounted for 10, he claims. So that would add up to the missing of, if you had the 30 days in a month, right? 10 of those, you're looking at roughly 300 years, right? Adding after all these years that compounded with 10 of them drifting off 30 days in a month for X amount of fucking hundreds of years. So that's how he claimed he comes up with the 300 years. That's a lot of proof, dude. And he claims if you take astronomical records that come after the 1,000 years and before the 600 years, they line up a certain way that the events that are described between 614 and 9/11 couldn't have happened. If you follow like astronomical charts and, star charts and the rotation and all this math, it doesn't line up for eclipses and it doesn't line up for fucking star charts, none of this. And so he has the proof of that. And then if this is the question I asked after reading all that, dude, I was like, why bother taking out 300 years? Right? Why bother going back and being like, this shit's fucking missing, when instead of being like, maybe we're just off on the age of our earth, instead of being like, well, we're 1700 years old, you're saying, no, we are this old, people just lied about 300 years of it. Okay, that's a little bit different than just being an old
And,
earths.
dude, 300 years. I mean, dude, that does shorten the span, right?
Yeah.
And
It
dude,
puts
like,
a
I get to
1724.
thinking about, like, dude, you think about how quickly war progresses things, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did it not progress any after Rome?
Dude, when
Like, it took until
these people were conquering in this time, right? Like, when
yeah,
was the
but like,
Crusades?
dude, when did they start using muskets? Like, that's the next evolution.
Guns were way after this, weren't they? 18s,
Yeah,
100 years later.
17s.
We're talking,
This is
okay,
late 17s, right?
isn't it so weird to say that if like this is really the truth and it really is, we're in the
So
year
it kind of puts it into
1700?
perspective, though. I'm like, man, there is kind of a gap there, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm. Why do they
dude,
call it
just
the
World
Dark
War
Ages?
II. Like, look at that. Like, just the progression, right?
Mm-hmm. They expect us to believe motherfuckers were just riding horses jousting for 300 years, not taking any notes down, not
And
progressing
we have a
anything.
dude
They were just
flying.
hanging out.
We
Yeah.
had a dude flying at this time too,
There was a
right?
dude flying with a talking head that predicted the future.
Autonomous
Yeah. Yeah.
talking head.
Nonetheless, did it on his own. Yeah. Bullshit. Things are questionable. Things are very questionable. Right. So, 1000 AD. Okay. That was seen, like I had mentioned earlier, that was mentioned in the book of Revelations, right? Well, not specifically 1,000, the 1,000-year millennia. Okay. 1,000-year reign. So Western Europe was heavily Christian influenced at this time. And if you can place yourself as a leader in these times, then you can solidify, the line. You can solidify your reign, you know? You're the Pope when Christ returned. Bro, you're divine, right? They chose you. So you look back at this and it's like, well, okay. But here was my problem with that, right? If you actually forged history, like, you weren't there if you thought he was coming back on 1,000. You died in 1003. So you were there to witness if Christ came back or not. And you forged all the years before to try to just put yourself in it. So Christ would know that, bro, right?
Right.
You're not going to be remembered in this divine. You forged it to put yourself in there, but people know you're not fucking in there.
It's true.
Right? Isn't it almost like an oxymoron in itself? You're like, oh man, I'm not gonna be in this year, but I'm gonna write about me being in this year. So that people think I was in this year. It's like, dude, if that's not the simpest of all simp shit to fucking make up your time in another time period to say you were there when you weren't there knowingly.
So, one of the first firearms came around in the 10th century. It was a fire lance that they used to use out of bamboo and gunpowder, and they'd shoot darts out of the bamboo.
Dude, I was gonna say the ancient Chinese were fucking wild, bro. They
Mm.
discovered, what did we say? Didn't we do an episode? They discovered, hey, I forgot to mention while we're here, this is we're a quarter of a
Oh,
hundred
and I just
old.
learned how to make gunpowder. If anybody doesn't know, it's
We'll be
just
posting
readily
that on our
available
YouTube.
online.
Just follow us. Follow, subscribe, like, give us all the jazz. Even if you hate it, leave us
Saltpeter,
something.
potassium nitrate, charcoal, and sulfur. There you go.
Did you know this is our 25th episode?
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow,
We're
come a
doing pretty
long
good too.
ways.
Our statistics, we're 4 months old. We're doing an average of 6 episodes a month.
It's not bad. Not bad.
That's not
We
bad.
gotta get our average up because we've been going down. But
It's tough. It's tough out there when you're working. It wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't working fucking 4 a.m. to 5 p.m., you know? It's a little rough right now.
yeah, I
It's hard for
understand
us.
that for sure.
Dude, when the baby comes though, I'm
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
doing nothing but writing episodes and fucking recording them with you. We're just gonna be hamming them out. And I know hamming them out means a couple different things. Okay.
What we do, I guess, is I mean, if you want to put that on a podcast, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, more power to you. So they they wanted to be remembered, you know. They wrote themselves into these forgeries to reign throughout a holy era if it happened. If the year 1000 mattered, Otto was to be the emperor, right? Sylvester wanted to be the Pope of Popes, and Constantine wanted to be the ruler of rulers.
Right.
And they went so far to conspire with all these other popes, all these other kings, you know, to write forgeries to place them in these times, to write astronomical events, bro, that they knew wouldn't. You knew math, you knew it wouldn't fucking line up when people put it to the test, you know? So, I mean, it doesn't hold up its weight, you know, at all. You
Right.
can't come through and forge time. But if you look at a lot of this, there is I feel like there's credence to them saying
It's off for
yes, right? Something's off. Either nothing fucking happened, dude, and nobody was writing about these people and they were hiding
sure.
something
Like the dark ages are truly dark.
dark,
Right.
bro. How are you not documenting shit? How is the rest of the world documenting shit and you're not?
And like in like Rome burns to the ground and they manage to keep everything. Right. And they're like, oh, this is important. We see, you know, documents and just knowledge is important, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then they're just like, fuck it.
Yeah, dude. And it's so crazy too, because you knew, right, with the burning of Alexandria on the world's greatest library, they lost all that shit. So they knew, right? We document everything. Well, we're going to hit the dark ages. No reason to.
Like nobody was like, hey, we need to like try to like regather what we had, you know, like no efforts towards that, right?
Or, bro, how convenient that these motherfuckers are looking catastrophists, right? All these people who think, you know, the earth was created in different ways and obviously, you know, follow some pseudoscientific ideas right off the bat, knowing that just so happen to find an area of time that isn't written about so they can find all these fucking holes in the story? Come on. It ain't that easy. Right? You think,
No. Yeah, like
well,
that
we're
would
going to
be
go out here and I know there's some proof to some things being lied about. This. Oh, 300 years?
just gone, dude.
Gone, dude. So,
But it makes sense though that it's gone because like I just feel like the timeline would condense and you would feel closer to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's
I
no
don't know.
progression of anything, right? That's a good argument for it, I feel like. There's no
Right, it'd be
progression.
warfare or anything like that, right?
Nothing. Dude, you didn't even learn like a better way to make a fucking handle to a plow cart or something?
How did food go? Food got worse.
It was Dark
Economics
Ages,
got
man.
worse.
It was during the
Mm,
plague, supposedly, you know, and all this other shit. People didn't have time to fucking think about learning and doing this and doing that. And
You just had to try to survive, and I mean, I get it, but I mean, where are all the soft hand guys at? You
dude,
know,
if
there's
in
soft hand guys throughout history. That's
in
like,
trying to survive, you would think that would be the time where you're learning the fucking most, right?
yeah,
You'd be innovative as shit. Like, look at how fast they pumped out a COVID vaccine.
dude,
Come on.
it's insane. And like, dude, everything a guy does, he will make easier every single time. And they're like, no, let's continue doing it this way because that's the way it's done. And not a single guy was like, well, we could do it this way. Dude, I do this all
Exactly.
day long. I'm like, but why can't we do it that way? You know,
Dude,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
and then they
Many
have to
his
come up with a good answer to why we can't. You know?
many historians though like point out, well, just because there's a lack of documentation doesn't mean it didn't happen. And it's like, excuse me? So now we can just make things up and say it happened?
I don't know, dude. We're pretty fast and loose with those definition things these
Right, yeah.
days.
No face, no case, dog. What you
There is
mean?
nobody stuck on a Starliner or nor stranded, by the way.
Dude,
Just
200 miles up. Come on. 200 miles up is how the fuck are the ISS be out here taking photos of the Earth 200 miles up? It's back. The Starliner's back. It landed over the weekend.
yeah, no.
No
But see,
people in
like
it.
if they are up there, they are stranded. I don't care what words you use, they're stranded if they are. Like if I'm on a mountain and my car breaks down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I stranded?
Yes.
Right. And then my car drives home. I'm really stranded.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, if your Tesla leaves you, you're not waiting for the next dude. And they're getting on the Dragon 9 mission. They said
I'm
there's a
like, hey Michael, build a car real quick and come get me.
yeah, dude.
Not stranded. Not
They said there's a
stranded.
Dragon 8 capsule that they can maybe use if the Dragon 9 isn't good. And I said, wait, you got one that's 8? 8 comes before 9. Why aren't we using 8 first? Dude, I don't know. Clearly I don't
Dude,
understand
some
the
of that
space
fancy,
lies.
dude, fancy college math, man. I won't get it. I will
Yeah,
never understand it.
8's older than 9. Oh, you don't get it, dude. So looking through all this, bro, it's the same thing as always, right? You can control the historical narrative if you're lying about this theory. You can strengthen your political power, right? Because you have the ruler, the king, and the pope. You know, and the pope supposedly can fly and has a AI head who could tell the future. I feel like the kings are going to win a lot of wars knowing the future. And they wanted to place themselves in a divine era. No, I mean, they struck out, right? It wasn't divine,
Right.
didn't happen. But hey, it just goes to show we're in 2024. They can fucking lie. They can control the timeline.
Dude, like, yeah, I mean, whoever
They can make it
controls,
what it is.
yeah, like, I mean, right now, you can write whatever on the internet and that becomes history now. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you're
100%.
within like the first page of Google, that is now history.
People will literally be like, well, I'm looking at Google and it says this. And it's wrong. It's like, think about what you saw with your own two fucking eyes.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, it's crazy. So that's all I had, man. little fucking shindig on the old time theory that, maybe we're living in a little bit. Maybe this whole time and we've been like these guys in the fucking Renaissance era didn't know shit. What are we living in the 1700s? Yeah, well, maybe. I take back my old people jokes.
Here I am, a boomer.
How weird, how weird too
Super
if we
cool.
were this advanced in the 1700s. Dude, think about the historical like documentation that would happen for that, you know? You would think you're out here and you're like, oh man, these people are advanced in the fucking 2000s and 3000. And it's like, dude, they had this advanced shit in the 1700s. Imagine where you were really going to be out in the 2000s, 300 years from now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what fucks it up. Maybe that's the alternate timeline. Or what
Maybe
if
we're all on an alternate timeline.
dude, what if it really was time was right and they're still stuck between the Gregorian and the Julian and those really are two timelines, not calendars?
Can you
That's
travel
just
through
weird.
time? Did we travel through time?
You can go forward, as we found out, but not backwards, they say. Unless you can create matter. Which
Or you're on the edge of a
CERN
wormhole.
is CERN creating matter? Yes. I feel like yes, right?
What if there's
Neutrinos.
infinite universes, though?
We should do one on the multiverse theory. I love that shit. I think there's
We should
I
do that
think
too.
there is.
Like with infinite possibilities where nothing and everything is possible
Mm-hmm.
and nothing and everything exists.
Yeah. I think that's a cool one. It also makes you feel bad about yourself, right? Because like you're like, damn, there's
I wanna
somebody
be
out
the
there
rich
who's
Matt.
yeah, I want to be the dude whose podcast took off and I got that 12 tight pussies on me every day. I don't know why I picked 12. That's a headache. I don't want 12 women. I'm sorry.
I really don't want to be bald like Joe Rogan either, because then with one thing comes another.
Yeah,
You know?
dude. It'll be like Bedazzled. You ever see that movie with Brendan Fraser and
Yeah.
where she's the devil and it never goes right?
Kind of like butterfly effect too, dude. Like you would try to pick a point and it just never works out, man.
Yep.
It works out.
It's like you got to sit down and, write in a fucking notebook to get it right. You got to write the whole scenario.
Dude, even when he did that in the butterfly effect, it didn't work. It's
Ah,
a bad situation.
it's not how it's supposed to be because you can't go back in time. That's why.
Or you can, as long as you get enough popes in on it. Or you
That
are
is
the
true.
pope.
Or you are the Pope, right? You can literally
And get enough
create
kings in
time.
on it.
Dude, flying? Come on. Let's fucking go. When I read that, I was like, because I was getting into this and I was like, dude, whatever. And then I started reading, I was like, hold on. This motherfucker could fly, had devices, right, that he could fly with. He couldn't physically fly his body, but he had shit that made him fly. That's
Thing
cool
a
as fuck.
dragon, because I don't know what's up with China, but they're pretty ancient. They like dragons a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with dragons, but you Western American motherfuckers. Anyways, another fantastic episode of We Figured It Out. That's your boy Matt.
And that would be Michael.
Yeah. And we'll fucking catch you guys on the next one.